Welcome back to the final time to Altenberg in Germany, the last race of the weekend. It is four-man time, the final race before the Winter Olympic Games. There's one of the signature corners here, the three-pressure Treichl carousel, that 360-degree corner, which awaits our drivers on one of the most feared tracks in the business. Martin Haven and Nathan Crampton ready to watch the action with you. And Nathan, whether you're sliding skeleton or bobsleigh, this is not a place to be taken lightly.
No, it is not. This is a beast of a track. So welcome to the beast that is Altenberg, starting here with a long, flat start ramp. As you get your run underway, the start record there by Team Friedrich at 5:01. We will be seeing him today in what may be his last race here on his home course. Mellow first couple corners, then you get into corner 3 here, and then this is where the action starts. Number 4, a big double pressure Omega into 5. Then you have this alternating right-left-right combination known as the upper labyrinth. Then coming out of curve 8 here, trying to stay on that left wall. 9 proved really tricky for the women's race. Long straightaway, then that Treichl that you mentioned, Martin, this big 360-degree corner causes some problems on the exit. Then a fast transition there, 11 into 12, another straightaway, then the tricky 13 and 14. 14 can also cause a lot of problems, a little bit of a negative half G there. Then the final 3 consecutive left-hand corners to finish off this course, where you cross the finish line right there before you're going uphill, and hope you survived the right way up.
And the track record dates back to the 2008 World Championships. Andre Lange and René Hopper, Kevin Kuska and Martin Putzer, the winners of the gold medal back in 2008. And in 2008 Worlds, Alexander Zubkov finished second. Matthias Höpfner, who's here coaching the German team, was the bronze medalist. We have had just 3 all-German podiums in the intervening 17 seasons. So this is a track, as in the women's race, as in the two-man, so in skeleton, that produces all sorts of entertaining races. It is so hard to be clean at the top. It is so hard to be clean at the bottom. There are so many potential pitfalls. There's Brad Hall, double race winner here in four-man 2 seasons ago, rather. Last year, Francesco Friedrich was back on form on his home track, taking four-man win number 7 and 8 of his career. 2 of those were World Championship golds as well in 2020 and 2021. So Friedrich with plenty of success, and this will be his final race on this track, or will it? We're not entirely sure, but certainly there's a big crowd on hand in case it is. But that is all for a moment or two's time. Here is our entry list as the final race weekend before the Olympic Games. We've got 18 sleds on the entry, starting with Switzerland's Team Arona, Jakob's Kalenda for Latvia, then Jakob Mandlbauer. Look out for Adam Ammour, Francesco Friedrich, of course, Brad Hall, maybe Patrick Baumgartner, Marcus Treichl, and Johannes Lochner. 7th and final IBSF four-man Bobsleigh World Cup of the season underway here in Altenberg in Germany. Martin Haven and Nathan Crampton watching the action with you as Team Arona gets us underway.
Team Tino Rohner here, getting underway. The 4 big men loading into the sled, tucking in. 5:38 to kick us off here in this World Cup four-man bobsled race down the tricky Altenberg track. You can see the lines in the ice already. Those are from the spur sleds as that giant sled makes its way through corner 4, the Omega. Little bit of a brush there early on 5, and now into this upper labyrinth.
Well, he's going to be setting the standard that everybody else is going to be judged by. He gets the best of the ice quality first off. The ice here is always superb. Top speed at the moment, 71.8 miles an hour.
Yep, nice smooth exit there off of Treichl, right down the pipe. A little bit early there into 12, and then big skids afterwards. That's going to hurt his time. Tricky corner 14, but much improved there as he gets to the bottom of the track.
Yeah, up over that brow into 15, nice and straight, and out of 17 across the line, 55.70. So we're some way from start and track records, but on a cold, crisp afternoon with the sun out, these are the conditions that Francesco Friedrich always says breed records here. And you know that Friedrich and his team, among others, will be targeting the start record. and that Trek record that dates back over 17 seasons to the 2008 Worlds. That's going to be tough to beat.
Well, this is the 11 to 12 transition, so getting on really early, you see that big bump on the backside of the sled, and as a result, you get that long skid exiting 12 on its way down to 13.
Yeah, that flick through 11, 12, and here 13 and 14. Late out of 14 means you're going to skid up the hill, but he was pretty clean there. So Team Arona down, with Cyril Bieri rejoining the squad after 2 years on the sidelines. Next up, Jekabs Kalenda, Eggers Ungas, Eggers Neme, and Mars Klava, the #1 Latvian driver. And at the back there on the left, Emil Tsipulis, who was driving just a couple of seasons ago, now heading up the Latvian coaching crew.
Yeah, we were having a chat with him earlier today, just before the race. He's got good hopes for his team here as they load that delicate ballet that these 4 large men have to do. 5:28, getting them started, so they have a 1/10 of a second lead, and their coach hoping for a top 10 finish today.
Yeah, there's all sorts on the table here. Team Arona particularly looking to qualify a 3rd Swiss sled for the Games, and that would be him if he manages to do so. The Latvians should be sealed in.
Yep, so they're looking for that strong finish, trying to finish off the World Cup in a good position before they get to the Olympic Games, but that lead, it is diminishing, only 1/100th of a second. I don't know if it's going to hold.
Good height in a final pressure. Kreisel brings it down pretty cleanly through 11, 12. Second best speed though, he's dropping back further.
He is a couple brushes on the wall, a little bit sideways there on the straight, falling back by a 1/4 of a second now, might dip a little bit farther into 17. Ooh, takes that big hit before the finish. 56.10 to fall back by 4/10 of a second.
Well, Emil Tsipulis was the last Latvian to medal here. That was 2 races ago. Dove Springs, Mats Miknes and Chris Lindblatt were in the crew. But Kalenda slips back a spot.
Yeah, not quite the finish that they were looking for there. Sled just getting away from them a little bit in a few spots. That is the exit of 9. Takes a very slight brush, makes a correction, another little tap, so gets pushed in a little bit late into Kreisel. Then we see these 3 big waves in Kreisel. There's a 3rd right there, and that's the exit. So that is a clean exit, almost. No, takes that little tap there on the slider right side. And then there's the bottom of the track getting very sideways very quickly there, and boom, that's the big hit right before the finish line.
And you know, as the brakemen aviated there, free from the sled in free fall, they thought they were going over. It does happen. Next up for Austria, Jakob Mandlbauer, Diane Nichols-Bardi, Sebastian Mitra, and Daniel Berchler. Berchler was on the 2-man sled with him yesterday. Mandlbauer had a good run in the 2-man. Let's see if he can manage the same in the big dog.
Yep, the Austrian team here looking to continue that momentum as all 4 athletes get in. It's such a delicate motion. They make it look easy, but that is not an easy motion to coordinate for 4 very large men. So they get underway here, making their way into 3. Nice early entry there into 4. There's 2 big waves in 4, the Omega. Smooth entry there into 5. Now into the upper labyrinth here with just over a 1/4 second in the lead.
He's coming in off a really good run last weekend in St. Moritz in the 4-man. He finished 11th, is comfortably his World Cup best 4-man result. Second best speed, still with 3/10 over Team Arona.
Yep, a little bit of a flop and a hit there and a skid. So still second best speed, but somehow holding on to a 1/4 of a second here.
Yeah, not giving away too much speed yet. Another sideways moment. These big sleds take a lot to get straightened up once they get sideways. He should have the lead at the line. It didn't, all those skids didn't help much, but he is still in front, 55.57, 1300s ahead of Team Arona.
Yep, so a little bit down on speed, down by 1.5 miles, just over that from the Swiss sled. So those errors at the bottom, they just ate away at the lead that they had, but hey, they're clapping. We get some applause from the athletes there. This is that shot exiting 9 again. 9 so tricky because it wants to lift you up just a little bit at the end, so you can see the sled getting sideways just a bit before Kreisel. Now in Kreisel, that big 360-degree corner, all 4 of those men packed in, being held down by those G-forces. There's the exit where you don't want to rise that 4th time. That's what causes crashes, which is what we saw in the women's race. And he just has a little bit of an issue there at the exit.
First 3 sleds are randomly taken from everybody outside the top 10, and then 4th starter, they random draw from the top 10 sliders in the field. So 20th World Cup start of his 4-man career for Adam Ammour. Issam Ammour, Joshua Tascher and Alexander Schaller. The man in the centre there, new to the team this year, has really quickly become indispensable.
Yes, this is a younger German team, 5:13. Great start for this German team. Fastest time and speed that we've seen so far. Tucking behind that cowling, getting set nice straight line very early there into 4. 2 big waves through the Omega, then into 5, now into this upper labyrinth.
Well, this is not home ice for him, although it is a German track, so he will know it well. Smooth through the upper labyrinth. Out of 9, is he straight? Little tap, but it comes back for him.
It does. That's a nice entry to Treichl. And he has the best speed, 116.6 going in. Exit a little bit sideways, not bad, but still the best speed, even better, 118.4. Great speed for Ammour here.
Yeah, Rona had the fastest speeds down to here, but he is flying now. Great run out of 14 through 15 and 16. And across the line is going to be a very big lead, 0.8 of a second, 54.78.
That's a great run there. Great push, great slide. That's the full package. And of course, those German sleds, known to be the fastest in the business.
Wow, Adam Ammour, that's a really nice, tidy looking run. And the boys, together with him, getting a good start, 5:13 getaway. Out of 9. Gets that little tap, but it comes square, and then he's able to just lean it across.
Yep, that's the entry that you want. You want to be on that slider's left side going into Treichl. Nice smooth lines. You got not completely flat. You got that little bit of a wave there. You don't want to be high on the exit there. Just a tiny flop and a tap off there. So not perfect, but definitely fast enough for the top speeds of this run and the fastest run by a long shot so far.
Yeah. Adam Ammour, the leader, in his 102nd and possibly last 4-man World Cup start. Francesco Friedrich, an 8-time winner in 4-man on this track. He's had 114 2-man races, including yesterday, a total of 216 starts in World Cup races alone.
5'10", and yeah, that is just an incredible resume that you mentioned there, Martin. This is his home track. He is a hometown hero. A lot of these fans are out here to see maybe his last race of his storied career. One of the greatest of all time, has accomplished so much as he takes a 0.09 of a second lead here into the top half of this track.
And looking to see if he can claim World Cup win number 90. 9-0. Top speed for Friedrich. Great Treichl.
Great exit there, super smooth, best speed, 118.7. He should be opening up even more of a gap here in the big bus that is this 4-man sled, 0.15 of a second, now down at the bottom.
Little squirrely through 15 and 16, but a lead of 0.14 at the bottom, 54.64. Okay, we're not going to see that 2008 track record broken today, I don't think. The rules were different then for 4-man. And these sleds are going to be tough to get that fast. But that's a big run from Francesco Friedrich. Huge crowd here this weekend. And that's because this man is not just a German bob sporting legend, but particularly from Kiel, just up the road, he is a Saxon legend. And they have all come to see him for possibly the final time.
Possibly so. We saw that shot at Treichl. This is that 11 to 12 transition. 12 trying to keep that sled smooth and low. Managed it fantastically.
A big run from France. Let's see what Brad Hall has got. Double winner here in 2023 season with Ben Simons back in harness. Taylor Lawrence at 3. That's him on the right of your shot, and Greg Cackett in the centre. So for those of you who are based in the UK, Romesh Ranganathan and Rob Beckett joined Brad Hall in a sled in St. Moritz with about the predictable results that you might imagine. Check that out on Sky. Meanwhile, let's see what they've got at the start. 5:10 start, 54.64 is the target for the down time. 5:19 getaway.
Solid start for Team GB here. As you mentioned, Ben in the crew again, Ben the Bounce, and then Big T as well. Solid crew here for Brad, who, as you mentioned at the very beginning, he has won 2 gold medals here. Not easy to do, to knock the Germans off the podium at their home track. Can he bring some of that magic back today?
Well, 900's back at the start, 2200's back as he comes out of curve 9, but straight down the tubes into the Treichl.
Third best speed, 116.5, so not as fast as those German sleds. Smooth exit, that is a beautiful line out of Treichl. Nice smooth there, and now the top speed, 119. Well done, Brad.
Great Treichl for Brad Hall, out of 14 over the brow, still 2900's back. Can he bring it any closer to Francesco Friedrich? Ammour second in 1400's back. Third place at the line, 54.93. Well, one more German sled to come from his good friend Johannes Lochner. But as a loosener, that was a pretty nice run from Brad Hall. Really built speed from the Treichl down.
He did. That great speed there at the bottom, 81.31 miles per hour. That's the fastest sled we've seen at the bottom. Not quite the pace at the top. Started right here just with that little deficit to that powerful German team. So the crew trying to get in, trying to get down. 4 large men squeezing into a very small space. I'm always impressed when I see that. There is the exit of 9. That's about as dead straight as we've seen so far, exiting 9 into the Treichl.
So it is Francesco Friedrich, Adam Ammour and Brad Hall, the top 3 early in this 4-man race. Next up, Taylor Austin of Canada. Mike, Evelyn, Keaton Bruggeling, and Shaq Murray-Lawrence, the man in the center at the back. There is Big Shaq. So, what can Taylor Austin produce here? He does have great touch on the 4-man D-rings. They're going to be a bit behind at the start, especially compared to Friedrich's crew.
Yeah, Friedrich's crew really has great synchronization there, great power. Canadians here getting into the sled, nicely done, very good load, 5:21. So yes, as expected, does put them at a little bit of a deficit, but they are in the mix. There it is, off of 2, getting into 3. Now the tricky bits, corner 4, there's 2 big waves, but times it really well. Into 5, now into the upper labyrinth here, 1900s back.
Just 200s behind Brad Hall at the start, so in the battle for 3rd place at the moment.
Ooh,
and 3rd on the splits. Needs better speed out of the Treichl though.
No, he doesn't have it there, not into it. Flops off a little bit, still 4th fastest, 118.1. So just a bit of a deficit. Ooh, a little bit of a rough transition there. And then down now into the bottom of the track, 1/4 second back.
Little to the left in 15, gets onto 16 and across the line, 4th place, 3200s back, 300s behind Brad Hall. That's a really big run from Taylor Austin.
It is. Taylor Austin, an experienced driver, has been all over the North American circuits, had a ton of success there. And then chatting with some of his team earlier today, their goal, top 10 for sure, maybe, optimistically, going for a podium finish.
Well, he might get a top 6 here. He was 7th in race 2 in Lillehammer. He was 9th in Winterberg, the first race after Christmas. So he has got definite top 10 potential in this sled, but he could even be top 6 here.
He could. There it is, going on just a nice smooth entry to 14. There's the middle of 14. Not a bad run at all. Well done, Taylor Austin.
Probably the track in Europe that's most similar in terms of driving intensity to Whistler, where he trains. Next up, Patrick Baumgartner, Italy's big hope. Youth Olympic champion 2012. He's got Eric Fantazzini, Robert Metzger, and Lorenzo Bellotti. This is whatever the Italian for A team is. Squadra A, I'm guessing.
And they power off the block here, loading into the sled, getting in. All 4 athletes down and in, 5:26 for them, so they are underway. Ooh, a little bit of a knock on that side of the sled, and also bigger problems here exiting 2. Oh, it's all going sideways really quickly. This is not the run that he has won. It's so high. Oh my gosh, something is wrong.
He's not got steering.
Something is wrong. Yeah, I don't think he's not in control.
The sled keeps going right. Look at the right-hand run. The sled keeps turning hard right.
There's a mechanical issue. The sled is all over the place. There's no control at all.
Baumgartner has got a major problem here. If he even gets this down in one piece, that will be some kind of superhero.
Oh gosh, this is just so tough to watch. Oh, he's right at the there in 13, and he does go over. Over in 14 on his side, he crashes. Whatever has gone wrong has now gone disastrously wrong for Baumgartner. Oh, he's gonna finish on his back here on his first run.
And these sleds are carrying a lot of speed and a lot of momentum. And at the back, Lorenzo Bellotti will try and get out and stop the sled. The crew are trying to stop it sliding backwards.
Oh no, oh what a disaster.
Nobody steers hard right like that in those first couple of corners. There was, from the moment he got in, there was something wrong. The sled was just turning right.
Yep, we could see it right away in corner 1. Something wrong happened there. Just, again, the sled drifting right, tapping to the right, and just it's not staying straight.
That right-hand runner is just turning right all the time.
Yeah, off of 2. Easy, gentle 2. Puts him right into the slider's right wall, and again, riding that right wall the whole way. Something mechanical has gone wrong inside that sled.
Well, you pull on either ropes or cables. You pull the right-hand one to go right, the left-hand one to go left. Something in that steering mechanism, there are kind of levers inside to reduce the mechanical effect on the front axle and turn it from a sort of backwards and forwards pulling into a slightly more accurate motion. But something in that steering system was broken or not correctly connected. And from the moment he got in, the thing's steering itself right.
Yep, that's heartbreaking.
That's Baumgartner. He's,
I've seen it before where the pilot jumps in and sometimes the foot will get stuck inside either the D-rings or one of the cables under there, or a cable could have been broken. No way to tell from the outside, but clearly something was not working there for Baumgartner, and we just hope that his crew are all safe, because getting trapped under a sled that has a minimum weight of 210 kilograms, that on top of you, that is a dangerous situation.
Yeah, and of course, this is the final race before, for Baumgartner, his crew, not just the Olympics, their home Olympics. So the boys are out of the sled, the medical crew will be with them, and so we will wait and see. There's a track hold. Our next driver, Marcus Treichl, and his crew, they will have to wait as everybody else. Well, let's take a look and see if we can get any clues from pre-starter in the start, because certainly the moment they load, as he jumps in.
Yep, he gets in, does his job. He's got to get that push bar in as well. Okay, the crew loads well. That's a smooth load. All the guys getting in. There's the driver's push bar going down.
He is not looking out of the sled. He's looking down inside.
Yeah.
He's feeling something. Either the steering ropes are crossed over, so you're pulling right and it's going left, or, and I think probably, something in there has come loose or broken, and it only was steering right. I mean,
yeah,
well, there are the crew, thumbs up from the boys, and that's really good to see.
And an applause as well from the crowd. Well, that is what you want to see.
So the medical crew will give them a check over. They did complete the run, and so they can go again. Now, in a bigger field, that would have dropped them out of the top 20, and so there would be no second heat, because only the fastest 20 sleds go through. There are 18 here. Now, it'll be up to the coaches and the driver, and maybe the medical crew, to decide whether Baumgartner and the boys go again. And don't leave Altenberg. Again, look at the sled. It's still trying to pull right.
It is. It's riding right on that right wall. Something mechanically has just gone awfully awry in that Italian sled. And for anyone who's curious as well, what kind of speeds they were doing upside down, 69.55 miles an hour. That is highway speed upside down with a 210 kilogram sled on top of your body, just to put it in perspective.
Yeah. So, yeah, dramatic moments there for Patrick Baumgartner, and he knew the moment he got his hands on the D-rings there was something wrong. And of course, you can't just stop. You know, in track and field, if your running shoe is coming loose, you'll stop. If you're in a run-up for a pole vault and something's wrong, you'll stop. Here, you are committed. There is no stopping.
No, same thing with skiing. Skiing, you miss a gate, something goes wrong, your ski comes off, you can pull off to the side. Oh, what do we see here in the sled?
That's the push bar and the little tab there for dropping the push bar in. But It'll be something in the steering mechanism, whether it came loose from the axle itself, I have no idea.
Yep, no telling, couldn't quite get a good enough view down in there. And then you see the scabbards there, those go on top of the runner to protect them for transportation, but something was going wrong, pulling that sled to the right, and I think, unfortunately, Baumgartner knew that when he got in and he was looking down into the sled.
Yep. Did everything he could to save it. I have to say, I can't believe he even got down all the way to 14 before the sled eventually took him away. Well, down in there, you can't quite see the D rings. They're D-shaped metal rings that the cables, the ropes are attached to steer the sled. And as I said, it's got a kind of lever mechanism that translates that movement onto the front axle.
Yeah, there's no hydraulic steering here. It's all old school mechanics for the sled. And, oh, that's got to be so scary for Baumgartner. You get in the sled at the top, you're looking down, and you realize you don't have a steering mechanism.
Yep.
That has got to just be one of the most frightening thoughts that you could have here in the sport of bobsled.
And people might say, well, why didn't you just put the brakes on? And actually, that's just, it's as alien as trying to go the wrong way round a race circuit against oncoming traffic would be for a race driver. And again, you know, the coaches, the technicians from different nations trying to figure out what was going on, and they're all of exactly the same opinion. The sled was driving itself there, and Baumgartner was trying to negotiate it down as a kind of with one arm tied behind his back, almost literally.
Yeah, and I got to say, I am so impressed with how well he handled it for as long as he did. He got it all the way through Treichl.
Damn, he nearly got the entire
almost
run
got the whole
done
track done
without steering.
It's incredible.
And this happened a week ago in training to Alana Myers-Taylor when we were in St. Moritz. She crashed out a horseshoe, and it literally ripped the axle through the front of the sled. So she knew from horseshoe she had no steering, and there was still a kilometre of ice. The speed at the bottom there in St. Moritz will be 135 plus kilometres an hour, so over 85 miles an hour. And to be going down towards that, knowing that you have no steering control at all, and the sled crashing 3 more times on the way down, must have been one of the most terrifying moments of her entire life. Well, Marcus Treichl and his crew are starting to get themselves warmed up again. So Sascha Stepan, Marcus Sommer, you just saw Christian Huber getting themselves sorted out.
Yep, trying to stay warm. That is one of the challenges here in a winter sport. You're cold, it's freezing outside. You've got to compete, staying warm as best as possible while the track crew goes up and down this track. Make sure there's no shards of fiberglass, carbon fiber, metal, nuts, bolts, anything that might hinder the oncoming sleds now, and making sure that everything is safe for them.
Of course, mental resilience is a part of life, a part of any sport, even more so when you are focusing yourself to a peak and timing your arrival at the line perfectly, and then hold on and wait for 5 minutes and however long it takes.
Exactly, however long it takes, because they do have to go do a thorough check here on the track, top to bottom, again, for safety, which is a priority here. Make sure that the athletes are okay, and make sure that the conditions are safe for all of the other athletes that have to come down next. But we saw 2 wild crashes in the women's race. We had one crashing out of Treichl, the other one almost an identical crash coming out of 13 and into 14. So what happens is you go late into corner 14, and you're on the corner too late, so the sled basically just folds in. It crashes with the left side of the sled, smacking the ice into corner 14, and you're just on your side all the way through 14 there. That's exactly what happened to Baumgartner right now. And as I said before, just it's incredible that he made it so far down the track without having an issue.
Well, crew have been given a 2-minute warning, so they are getting ready to go again. And just blowing snow and ice out of the start groove so the sled runs true. And hats off to the track crew, by the way, as always. And as a skeleton athlete, Nathan, you appreciate it probably even more than the bobsledders. This, although it's a fearsome track, has the best ice in the business, and the track crew, Ralph Mender and his boys, do such a superb job in all weathers. It is absolutely some of the best conditions you can race in.
They do indeed, and for an artificially refrigerated track, they make it their goal every year. They want to have the best ice on tour, the smoothest, the fastest, which for the athletes, that is what you want. You don't want to be rattling around on a bunch of potholes and a bunch of gouged out ice. You want the smooth, fast runs. Then you can feel the pressures better. Then you can navigate the ice better. That's what you're looking for as an athlete. And yes, this Altenberg crew does a stellar job with that.
Yeah, it's always a good place to come racing. Great organization, warm welcome, huge enthusiastic audience. So Wolfgang Stampfer, okay boys, right, here we go, focus. And this is where, again, for the driver, Markus Treichl, he feels the responsibility. All of his crew put their health in his hands. They trust him implicitly to get them down fast and safe. And so it is this mutual trust. Markus Treichl, Sascha Stepan, Markus Sammer on the right of your picture, and in the center, Christian Huber.
And off they go, powering that 210-kilogram sled off the line. Pilot down, two-man, three-man, brakeman in, all tucked in, very well synchronized. 5:21 to get their run started and to resume competition here in Altenberg.
And Treichl and the crew have been starting so strongly this season. That is the fourth fastest start, just 1100s behind Friedrich.
Yep, a little bit early there into 5, a little bit offline, drifting back by 0.2 of a second here. Now making his way into this really tricky corner 9. Can he get out straight? Yes, that's pretty good. Little banana line, and now into Treichl.
Yeah, no taps, no skids, third best speed. So he's fourth on the splits from the start. Little tap running down into 11-12, but second best speed. Treichl's coming.
Yes, he is. Now into 14. That corner that has caused 2 crashes already today. Quarter of a second behind, hitting his top speed here at the bottom of the track. Going to cross the line here through 17 with 54.97. Nicely done.
So he is, no, that's yeah, so 33 hundredths back. He is 100th behind Taylor Austin, 400ths behind Brad Hall in third.
Yes, so just knocking on the door of a medal, 400ths of a second behind the current third place finisher. Really well done by Markus Treichl. Couple small errors that I bet he's going to want to clean up on his second run here. So here we see that's the 3 to 4 transition, just knocks it a bit early on the slider right side, takes that dip, there's that second pressure, and then he gets in a little bit early to 5. You see it right there, taps that front bunk before 5. Gets a little bit of air perhaps off of those rear runners, and there, that could be those 400ths of a second.
There's Sascha Stepan with his helmet off. Markus Treichl, that was a pretty good run. That's definitely going to look like a top 6, I think, at the end of this first of 2 heats. For Switzerland, Cedric Follador, Omar Fergler, who was on the 2-man yesterday, joined by Livio Matosi and Tim Annan, whose brother Debbie was racing in the monobob and the women's bobsleigh over the last couple of days here for Switzerland.
Yep, so a family affair here as he gets kicked off with a 5:30 to start his run. So this is the second Swiss sled by Follador. Man coming from the Engadine region, and now here in Altenberg, getting through this top bit of the track with some nice lines here.
Yeah, a 10th back, 2 tenths back at the start, and that gap is out now to over half a second as he comes out of corner 9.
Yeah, oh, little light tap there, sliders left side. Second best speed though, 116.8. Wow, that's some good velocity coming off the Treichl. Now into the lower labyrinth, still second best speed, 118.8. Well done, sitting 6th on the timesheet so far.
Yeah, 9th best start, up to 6th position. Overhauled Jakob Mandlbauer, chasing down 5th place Markus Treichl. Does he get him at the line? Not quite. So 5100ths back for Cedric Follador, but he's ahead of Jakob Mandlbauer and his teammate Timo Arona, ahead of Jakob's Kalenda and the unfortunate Patrick Baumgartner and his crew.
Yep, so the 55.15, solid run for the second Swiss sled overall, but I should note this is the top Swiss sled because they are only racing 2 sleds today. Mickey taking the day off here in Altenberg. There you see that little tap before Treichl, putting him in a little bit more middle into the corner. Then you see that's the second oscillation, then the third one right there, and you're trying to avoid that fourth one. Now the 11 to 12 transition, gotta stay low on 12 there. You don't want to get that extra height. Doing a good job though.
So Cedric Follador in 6th position after the first 10 sleds, and as you said, Mickey Vogt's not racing here this weekend. He's in Europe Cup in Innsbruck in Austria. So for absolutely the final time in a World Cup race, Johannes Lochner with Torsten Margis. For these two, it's their last 4-man. Jörn Wenzel, the new boy in the crew, he'll continue. Georg Fleischhauer says he will as well, work with whom we don't know. 73rd 4-man start for Hansi, his 152nd World Cup bobsled race.
Yep, ticking in 5:17. Great start there. A little bit of a late load for the team. They weren't quite as quick as some of the other teams into the sled. Whipped around corner 3 there. Now into 4, trying to track down their teammate, Francesco Friedrich, and only 700ths behind. Little bit early there. Onto 7, now going into 9. Exiting 9. Yeah, another banana line, but no big dramas, and only 200s back with the best speed into Treichl.
1 win here, 9 seasons ago in 4-man for Hansi Lochner. He was on top of the pile yesterday in the 2-man. He's in the green over the hometown hero, Francesco Friedrich. 100th in front, 300s in front, a better 15-16, and he leads by 500ths of a second.
54-59. Great job by Team Lochner. He's got a bunch of fans here in the crowd as well. His crew standing up at the finish line. Thumbs up from the coaches. Well done, Lochner. Great run there.
And big Torsten Margis, you saw at 2 standing up there as they came into the finish area. Hansi and Torsten this morning, I said 4 more years? No, no, absolutely no more. This will be their last World Cup race in 4-man. They've had their last 2-man yesterday.
And there's a great line, great slide. Not the fastest start, but the fastest one at the bottom, thumping the sled in celebration. They are your top German sled after the first run, and leading currently what is a German sweep so far.
Yeah, last German sweep was in the 2020 Worlds. Nico Walter taking bronze in his final ever bobsleigh race. Saw him a couple of evenings ago. Happy as a pilot for Swissair. Next up, Chris Horn. Hakim Abdul Sabor, the Man Mountain at 2 with Ryan Rager and Caleb Furnell. This is going to be a big starting crew. Now, they have not pushed together on a regular basis, but these are some fast, powerful athletes. So early fast that Horn gets in really early.
Yeah, that is unorthodox, and that's really slowing them down. 6:04 to start. Chris Horn, who is a great athlete, he is a push monster in his own right. He got in the sled so early. I wonder if that's just a cautionary measure.
Yeah, it might well be, actually, because he needs to get this sled down and complete this race just to guarantee that there are no issues with getting into the Olympics.
That's right. They're not going to be fighting for a medal here, I don't think. They are fighting for the Olympic qualification, the Olympic bid. That's what is important for Chris here, navigating this Treichl, taking some conservative lines here, getting the sled a little sideways. Oh, no! Getting way, way offline there in 12. Come on, Chris, keep it online here. Better out of 14, 3 seconds back. Keep it up, buddy. Come on, stay on the right side.
Holy moly. Chris Horn touching both sides of the track.
Yeah.
1 tick, 1 to go. 58.18.
Oh boy, wow. So I remember talking to Stephen Holcomb, late great Stephen Holcomb, describing what it's like to drive a 4-man sled. He said a 2-man sled is like a sports car, a 4-man sled is like driving a bus, and we just saw why there. It's so difficult to control. Christopher Horn having to get in early just to make sure he was in and settled. And there we can see coming off of Treichl, it gets sideways, and then here is the potentially huge problem. Hits before 12, then goes nose up, skidding through 12. Could have been disastrous there, but he manages to save it. Just, oh, look how hard he had to turn that sled just to avoid a flipping on the exit.
Well, you could hear the alarm bells at home, I'm sure, and Chris Horn heard them as well. Kim Jin-soo of Korea, Chae Byung-do, Kim Sun-wook, and Lee Gyun-yu. Kim, the bronze medalist in Cortina in November. Could he be a medalist in the Games? The answer is we don't know who's going to come out on top, but his hat is in the mix.
It is. It's a big hope for Korea after hosting the Olympics a couple cycles ago. There we go, through into the upper labyrinth there. The lead diminished, though. Takes a little tap there into third place now, earns back one spot at least, and then exiting 9, going way sideways, though. Only the 4th best speed. Still in the mix. Still about 900s back, and so where will he end up?
Well, drops behind Adam Ammour. Now he's trying to stay in front of Brad Hall, who is currently in 4th place. Does he get Hall at the line? Another big skid. 3rd in Cortina in November, 23rd last week in St. Moritz. The same driver. 54.96, so he slips behind Brad Hall, and he is in a dead heat with Taylor Austin of Canada, just 300s behind Hall.
Yeah, this is some tight racing now. Oh, just a few hundreds outside of the medals as well. So just behind, yep, as you said, Brad Hall and Taylor Austin. It did get a little bit away from Kim here, so that's a smooth entry. This is 14 that we're looking at. Nice line through 14. The exit, though, comes out a little bit early, taps on that left side, and then a bit of a skid. Ooh, touch and go there for the Korean team, but thumbs up from the crew.
Well, after missing the cut for the second heat last week, he is back in the top 6. What about Roman Heinrich of France? Léon Lefebvre, Antoine Rieu, and Nils Pléron join him in the sled this afternoon. At the back, big Dorian Hauteville, who was in the 2-man sled with Romain yesterday. And Heinrich with 2 top 10 finishes, 10th in race 2 in Lillehammer, 10th last week in St. Moritz. Unretired 2 years ago, coming back to bobsledding when he discovered that the next Winter Olympic Games will be in the French Alps, which means the sliding will be on his home track of La Plagne. And if that doesn't make you unretire, nothing will.
That's right. There's something special about having a home Olympic Games as he gets kicked off with a 5:25 to start his run. This a veteran of the field. He has been around the block a few times. He knows the tracks really well. Solid driver, making his way through Omega. There is corner 5, smooth on, smooth off, sitting in 8th position, about a quarter second back now.
Yeah, really gifted driver. They're a little behind on the start at the moment, but he's got 4 more years to get that sorted out.
Yep, still holding about a quarter second back. Decent speed though, 116.7, little high, and takes that flop and skid off at the end. Through 12, and yeah, it's hurting his speed down to the 10th fastest speed. Late there into 14, but comes out okay. No, a bit of a skid. Oh, getting just away from him here.
Giving away too much speed. The track quite a lot quicker, I think, than it was in training. 9th at the top, 9th at the bottom.
Yeah, he had a really good middle section there, had some really good speed going into Treichl, but then the sled just getting offline, not able to keep it under control, and that's where a lot of the time went.
Yeah, those transitions really get to you. And the problem is that they're not individual corners. If you're late in one, you're late in all of them.
And there's definitely a domino effect. So this is the exit of Treichl. You can see him getting just a little bit too high and boom, flopping off that rear runner, smacking down hard on the left side and then taking the double bunk hit. And there, taking a tap and then going sideways. You can see him, he's trying to move the sled and get it straightened out, but he shakes his head. He knows it can be better.
Sideways uphill out of 14 is always a big braking effect. For Romania, Mihai Tentea with Andrei Nitsa, Mihai Pacianu and Georg Jordash in the sled. Jordash on the back of the 2-man yesterday, and they had a good day in 2-man yesterday. Mihai, another very talented driver, finished in 8th place in yesterday's 2-man race.
Yes, and we also see Mihai Paciano here. He was a skeleton racer who has made the transition into a bobsled push athlete. So they get their run started here. 5:32 for the Romanian crew. And yes, as you mentioned, Tentea, great technical driver. He's a guy who doesn't always have the best starts, but he's trained a lot here in Altenberg, a lot in Sigulda. He likes these technical tracks, and he knows how to navigate them.
13th at the start, already up to 11th place on the splits, so ahead of Timo Rohner of Switzerland. Great exit out of 9, down to the Treichl.
10th best speed here. He's going to need something a little bit better than that to claw away. Yep, he's up to 7th best speed, 7/10 of a second. Probably not going to be fighting for a medal, but he should be able to improve his position if he stays clean here at the bottom.
Same as yesterday, building that speed in Treichl. He just knows how to get through it neatly, and it is a top 10 run, 55.41.
Yep, working his way into the top 10 there off of what was the 13th fastest push time. So basically outdriving his start position. Again, a reflection of his ability as a driver, especially a technical driver on a technical track.
So he hops out, and they salute the crowd.
Yep, there is that curve 9, so takes that little banana line, but he straightens it, no skidding, no hits, gets the early entry into Treichl. There's the first wave, up on that second pressure, and then the third oscillation right there, getting really high, almost inverted, but comes out cleanly. And here's that tricky 12 transition. You can see the runners at the front steering on and then right off.
So Pacianu just outside, Tentea rather, just inside the top 10. Next up is our 16 slider. This is Matej Behounek from the Czech Republic. We're just across the border, about an hour and a half drive from Prague. Prague is the closest capital here. Berlin is further away. Andrei Rapp, Antonin Vijas, and Michal Dobesh on the back of the sled.
So the Czech team in and loaded. Ooh, a late little fix there for that one push bar at the back. So getting in 5:26 to get their run started here in Altenberg.
And that's a decent start. They're only 900ths off the lead. Hansi Lochner at the start. Oh, wild.
Yeah, early there into 5. That's too early. You don't want to be that early, and then gets you a little bit offline, trying to correct it. Well done correcting it through that upper labyrinth, and then, oh, just a little bit of late height there, hanging on to 9, and then not quite the ideal line.
He's going to have to recalibrate his steers. It's all coming at him a little quicker than he's anticipating, and that's dangerous in 11 and 12, and 13 and 14. He gathers it up. Yes, he does.
Yeah, keep the sled straight. Got to keep it on line, trying to avoid those crashes, which we've seen all too often this weekend. Here he goes through 17, across the finish line cleanly then. 55.33.
Well, that was fast, but it was ugly fast. 55.33. I should think the crew thought they were in trouble at least 2 or 3 times. And Behounek, well, talk about wild and loose. Let it fly. That's a high-risk strategy here. I don't think this was deliberate. It was just much faster than he was ready for.
Yeah, you can see the sled articulating there. This is 11 into 12, on 12, way too early, and that sled just whiplashing itself. Can really see it twisting and then skidding all the way down to 13. Corrects it just in time before he gets to 13. Thankfully, otherwise that could have spelled disaster there.
Oh boy. All right, he won't want too many more like that, Matej, but it was a top 10 run. Now for Liechtenstein, Martin Kranz with Lawrence Lenher, Tim Kessler, and in the center there at the back, David Schurfen, who was on the 2-man sled yesterday. Kessler, a more regular 2-man brakeman, but they're cycling the guys through, keeping everybody fit and healthy. And this 4 is the 4. They don't have lots of spare brake athletes waiting in the wings.
No, small team from a small country, the Principality of Liechtenstein, getting in, down in the sled. 5:42, so not the fastest push time that we've seen today. 16th fastest, but 14th best velocity, so they have something to work with as they get into 3 and now into the Omega.
Well, Kranz is a gifted young driver, and their Swiss sled tech somehow manages to have this sled among the very fastest, despite those starts.
Right, so you need the good sled, you need the good push, and of course you need a good pilot as well. So here he is entering the Treichl 12th fastest speed, 115.9. Exiting, it is 117.9. Ninth best, so yes, this sled is moving well.
And he is driving really nicely. 16th at the start. He'll be knocking on the door of the top 10 by the bottom of the run. It's a great looking run again from Martin Kranz. 12th place, 55.48.
Yep, so improving on his start position of 16th by 4 spots. That is a testament to his driving ability.
Yeah.
Yep, some great motions there from his crew, the 2 and 3 man, celebrating, standing up as they come up the finish out.
And he's still just 23, so lots and lots of time on his side.
Great job by Lichtenstein there. Well done by this younger crew. So this is the Omega, that big dip in the middle, then controlling that second pressure. Not quite enough though, because bounces off and then takes that double bunker tap on the left side. Ooh, and even getting a little bit of airtime there off the rear runners before 5.
Yeah, picking up over 800 pounds of sled with that energy. And our final sled in the first heat, Rohn, the Swiss rookie who made his 2-man debut yesterday with Andre Tour. And they have Jan-Rolf Hohl and Julian Matisse on the back of the sled. So these guys stepping up from Europe Cup. It's only his 3rd season driving Rohn. 1st season in harness for Andre Tour. So this is a new young crew, and they are here because Mickey Vogt is not.
That's right, so stepping up, taking the spot of their teammates. 5:52 to kick off their run, so also, again, not the fastest start here for the crew, but valuable experience on this difficult Altenberg course. Navigating down now into 3 big waves from the Omega and 4. Nice, clean entry there into 5, and now into the upper labyrinth by about 2/3 of a second back.
Well, I thought he drove really nicely yesterday, considering all the nerves of a first ever World Cup appearance and a big crowd here and the tough track of Altenberg. Maybe he'd have been a little more comfortable in Saint-Moritz. Hard hit there, but it's still under control. 17th at the start, up to 15th on the splits.
Yeah, it took a little bit of a knockaway there going before 14, falling back by a second, reaching this top speed portion of the track, sitting in 15th at the moment, and across the line in 15th, 55.76.
0.06 of a second behind teammate Timo Rohner. That's an impressive drive. That's really good work from Rohn.
Yeah, knocking on the door of your higher-ranked teammate there. Only 0.06 of a second. Significantly slower at the bottom, but still great work. Well done. Great shot there, the push bar, really putting as much power as you can into that heavy sled. 210 kilograms is the minimum weight there. Now that's that little knock there, pushing them a little bit down, then going the high line through 14, taking it off. That's a great exit though, avoiding the walls and avoiding the skids out of 14.
Excellent start from Rohn, and actually Timo Rohner needs to pick his pace up a little bit because he cannot afford to drop behind his teammate. At the top of the pile, also not able to afford dropping behind his teammate, is Johannes Lochner. And there's 600s between the Swiss sleds, 14th and 15th. There is 500s behind Lochner, Francesco Friedrich, and 1900s behind him, Adam Ammour. All 3 podium spots are up for grabs. 1 run to decide it all. As ever, Hansi full of chat at the bottom. You saw him high-fiving Matthias Herfler, the coach. There's the lead group, and behind, Brad Hall, Taylor Austin, Kim Jin-soo, Marcus Treichl. That is the battle for the top 6, with Cedric Follador, the best of the Swiss, in 8th place, a whisker ahead of a slightly disappointed Roman Heinrich. And then Matti Behounek in a little bit of no man's land. Should have been faster, was a bit untidy. And behind him, you've got Tentea, Kranz, Mandlbauer, the Swiss, and the rest. So, 18 sleds started and 18 set a time. Will we have all 18 in the second and final heat? There's only one way to find out. Rejoin us at 4:15 local, 15:15 GMT, and that is 10:15 Eastern, and that is in around 40 minutes from now.
Wir haben alle schreien angefangen.